Hey everybody, and welcome back to the board meeting. Today I'm going to be doing a reviews and ratings episode where I review and rate the 6 different games I've been playing in the past 2 weeks with friends, family, and even solo. Now, I got 6 games this week, and I got some pretty good games on this list this week. And there's a couple games that I've played quite a bit that I've never reviewed on this channel before, and I was playing them this last week, so I was like, hey, let's throw these back on there. Because I realized I didn't review them ever. So let's just jump into these 6 games. Give a quick overview, a quick review, and my final rating of that game. So let's just jump right into the first game, which is the Marshmallow Test. This is a trick-taking game. This is a very simplified version of trick-taking games. In this game, you're going to have a hand of cards, and they're going to be numbered, and there's going to be 3 different colors, I think there is. And whoever's the lead player will play out a card which has got a color on it. All the other players have to play a card of that color if they can, and whoever at the end of that round has the highest numbered card of that color wins that trick. Now, the catch in this game is that you want to have your opponents win so many tricks before you win a certain amount of tricks, depending on the player count, and then you'll go out for the round. When you go out for the round, because you've won so many tricks, you're going to get marshmallows, which is going to be your points for the game. Whoever gets 20 points wins the game. You're going to get points depending on how many tricks your opponents have won. So you're trying to get your opponents to win so many tricks before you go out, because the more tricks they've won before you go out, the more points you get. So you don't really want to be the first person to go out, because the second player will get however many tricks everybody else has won, and the third player, so on. You don't want to be the last player, the one that doesn't go out for that round, because you're not going to get marshmallows. But yeah, after you get 20 marshmallows, the game's over. Whoever's had the 20 marshmallows wins the game. This is a fine little trick-taking game. It's only going to get a 6 rating from me, because it's a very, very simple version of trick-taking. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm very experienced with trick-taking games. I've played a lot of them over the years. And this is one that's going to stay in my collection, even though it's only a 6, and that's because it is a good gateway into trick-taking games. If you've never played a trick-taking game, this is one that I would show you, just to get you into how trick-taking works. But as far as the other parts, it's fine, but it's not going to interest me over introducing someone new to trick-taking, actually. It's 6 rating, it's a fine game. Not for me, probably, though. Let's go to our second game of this week. This is number 9. Now, this is another sort of gateway-style game where you are going to, we're going to flip over a card, and that card has got the number 0 through 9 on it. And you are going to take whatever number tile, the tiles are numbers, but they're actually just tiles, and you're going to place it on your board in front of you. And you are trying to build off of each of these number tiles. It's almost like it's got that Carcassonne feel to it, but each time you're playing these out, you're building out this area in front of you, and then you're going to try and start building on top of the other numbers. You're trying to build levels in this game, because the numbers that are on the first floor score you 0 points, but the numbers on that second floor are going to score you whatever point value they are. So if the 9 is on that second floor, you're going to score 9 points. If you get to build on top of those to make a third floor, you're going to score those double. You're going to multiply them by 2. If you happen to build a fourth floor, you're going to multiply those by 3. So it's interesting in that fact. It's a very simple game. You can teach it in a minute or two. It's going to get a 6.5 rating from me. It's good one to introduce people to, good gateway if you like simple games. This is one that I would try to check out, but I didn't think there was going to be like a ton. There's not much replay value in this game, because after we played it 3 times, I'm like, yeah, I'm good for this game, unless I want to introduce someone to it. Other than that, I could pass on this game, but it's not bad or anything like that. So let's go to the third game of this week. The third game is a cute little game. I shouldn't say little, but this is Transmissions. My friend had kickstarted this game, so I've been waiting for a long time to play this game because it's got these cute little robots on it. If you have the Kickstarter version, the robots are actually little miniatures, and they're really good, cute miniatures. Other than that, if you didn't kickstart it, you got just the standees, and nothing wrong with that. But the robot miniatures are really cute. In this game, you have these 4 robots that are laid out on your board, and they're different spots on this board. It's a rondel system. Now, on your turn, you're going to take one of your 3 cards. Every player is going to be dropped 3 cards, and they're going to play one of those cards. And those cards are going to tell you which robot you're going to move, or from which area you're going to move a robot from. And you're going to land on different spots. Whatever spot you land on, you're going to take those actions, which are sort of resource gathering, or using those resources to buy an item card, which is sort of the set collection deal. Or you can buy these pipes and make this pipe system in front of you, which is interesting. But yeah, it's a good little game. I would say it's almost a light game, but I would say probably a family weight game is what I would say for this one. It's going to get a 7.5 rating from me. It's, like I said, a good family weight game that's got some good decisions, but it's very easy to teach, very simple to learn. That's a good game. Check out 7.5 for transmissions. Going to our 4th game of this week, we have Legendary Encounters, a Predator deck building game. The games it's a system of games, and all of them have too long of a name. Now, this is part of the Legendary Encounters system. Like I said, there's an Aliens game, there's a 007 game, there's several other IPs that are attached to this, and they all play pretty similarly, I think. But this one is very, very similar to the Alien one. And I have the Alien one, I have the Predator one. Now, in this game, you have this above the board are these, like, I don't know what they're events in the Alien one. I don't know what they're called in this one. But these cards the enemy cards are going to be moving one slot at a time, and you don't know what those are unless you scan those areas. You can scan them and they try to take care of those bad cards before they get to a certain slot that's going to end up attacking you. It's a deck building game, so you are going to basically have 2 symbols to use. You have your attack, which you can attack the enemy cards, or you can use them to scan those areas to discover what those cards are before they attack you. Or you can use these stars, which are used to build your deck, to buy cards to put into your deck, and you're eventually going to get a more powerful deck of cards. There are 2 scenarios in this one that just play as the first Predator movie and the second Predator movie. Now, if you like the IP Predator, this is a game that I think is very thematic. You can watch the Predator kind of hunting you. You get a little bit nervous as the Predator gets stronger, because the longer the game goes on, the stronger the Predator gets, basically. But your deck is also getting better at that as well. This game gets an 8 rating from me. I love this game and the Alien deck building game. Some of my favorite deck building games. They're pretty simple, actually. But the only reason it doesn't get higher rating is because this is a pain to set up. This is a pain to organize these cards. I think there's like 700 cards in this game, and there's 2 different modes you can play as. But yeah, if you buy this game and you organize it, it's going to take you an hour or 2 to organize it before you can start setting up to play it. But yeah, it's one that I would recommend, but it is a pain, I'll tell you that. That's the only reason why it doesn't go higher. Let's go to our 5th game. These games keep getting better and better. This is a game that was on my shelf of shame for a long time. This is Coimbra. In Coimbra, you are going to be drafting dice and placing these dice out. At the beginning of the round, you are going to roll these dice, and each of the players are going to draft these dice. And the dice matter in a couple different ways. The higher the dice is, the better it is. You're going to take the dice that you have, that you drafted, and place it in one of the rows. And the rows have different character cards and whoever has the highest dice in that row is going to get the honor, the privilege to draft one of these character cards first. And these character cards are going to let you do couple different things, but mostly they're going to be moving up you on these 4 different tracks. So the number of the dice matters, because the higher dice are good, but you also have to pay however many resources that dice number is. So if you draft a 5, you're going to have to spend 5 resources to draft cards. Now, if you pick a 1, you only have to spend 1 resource, but you might not get the card that you want. So it depends on what you're prioritizing. Also, the color of the dice matters, because those those colored dice are going to, at the end of the round, activate that certain track's ability, which are getting different resources, moving around this map, which has different cities, which if you land on those cities, you'll get bonuses. It works a lot like the Voyages of Marco Polo. It's a really good system. There's also a track that's just straight up victory points. So there's a lot of things that you have to think about when you're drafting these dice and placing them. It's a great game, and it sat on my shelf of shame for so long, and I'm glad I finally got it to the table, because I love it, and it's not that heavy of a game even. But it's going to get an 8.5 rating from me. It's got a lot of good decisions you can make and a lot of different paths you can try to take. Yeah, it's definitely going to be staying in my collection, though. I'm excited to get to the table some more. I played it like 4 times last week. I really enjoyed it. So let's go to our very last game of this week. And this is a game that I've played quite a bit of, and I've never reviewed it on this channel. This is Circadians First Light. This is a dice worker placement game, and I love me some dice worker placement games. Now, at the beginning of the round, all the players are going to put a screen in front of themselves, and they're going to roll their dice, and they're going to assign these dice. And you can either assign them to go out on these little shuttles, which will go out onto the different places in the board and do those abilities. Or you can keep them in your farms, which will gather your resources, and resources are really tight in this game. So after you've assigned your dice, you reveal to everybody, and then you're going to, one at a time, pick your first dice and place that's on a shuttle and put them somewhere on the board, activating those abilities. There's different things like moving your harvester, which will, the further you move your harvester to the outside, the better resources that it will gather at the end of the round. There are also different shuttles you can buy, which will give you abilities. There are different farms, which will improve your farm system. There are areas you can go to negotiate with the aliens of that planet. And when you go to those negotiation spots, they're going to give you endgame points, but those dice stay there permanently. And there are also other spots that you can gain dice. So it's a balancing act of using your dice, and you're going to lose them, but you're going to get points. So you want to go to the spot to get other dice to kind of replenish it. So there's a lot to do in this game. And the reason why I really like this game, besides the dice worker placement, is these variable player powers. These characters are really, really powerful. Each one feels very, very unique, and you want to lean into that character power because they're very, very strong. I talked about Voyages of Marco Polo earlier. This reminds me of Voyages of Marco Polo for the player powers, because the player powers are so strong. There are also events that happen each and every round, and the events are going to dictate how you maneuver in that round, because they're powerful events. They're going to change things. They're going to change how you want to participate in that round. This is going to get a 10 rating from me. There's no way around it. It's one of my all-time favorite games. It's been in my top 10 all-time favorite games for 3 years now, and it's because I love the game. I love dice worker placements to begin with. I love that when you roll, you might have to change what you want to do depending on that round's event, depending on your player power, and depending if other players are taking your spots and doing your actions that you want to do. So yeah, 10 rating for me. I don't give out 10s very often, but this is one of my all-time favorite games. There's no way around it. So that will complete these reviews of these 6 games. Let me know in the comments below some of your thoughts on some of these games, or if you haven't played it, some of the games that you're on here that you want to try out. Either way, if you did enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe to see more weekly content from me, Shane, at the board meeting in the future. Hope you all have an amazing day. Take care, everyone.